Welcome to Innovation Alchemy. My name is Adam Castle. I am your host, and this is the podcast that explores the magic, the mess, and the mastery of innovation and those who are bold enough and brave enough to build it. Now, before we get started today, I want to give a shout out to our amazing producer, John, and the team at Clear Rock. If you've been following along with the podcast these last few years, Clear Rock Studios in Windsor has been making us sound good and maybe look good for over the last couple of years, and we are so grateful to have them on their team. Now, this series of podcasts and this episode that you're about to watch today is part of a series that focuses in on our annual ScaleUP Accelerator. The ScaleUP Accelerator brought to you by the Government of Ontario and Libro Credit Union, as well as FedDev Ontario. Now, ScaleUP is a 6-month accelerator program that focuses on companies that are in that sweet spot going from 0 to 1. And so a lot of the questions today are going to be around that 0 to 1 phase. And you might be asking, what in the heck is 0 to 1? And I'm very glad you asked, because 0 to 1 is that point where a business goes from idea to impact. It starts to have real things like real customers, real challenges, and real constraints. And so when we're talking to these startups, they're at that point where real is becoming really tough. And so we're really excited to have these conversations today to dive into that very specific stage in a startup life cycle and have you learn along with us. So thank you so much and enjoy. All right, Brittany, you ready to jump right in?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I'm here with Brittany Charlton of Chocovate Labs. And Brittany, you created Chocovate Labs because you ran headfirst into a problem in a previous venture and you didn't turn away from it. Tell us a little bit about that for anyone that doesn't know what Chocovate Labs is.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Go for it.
Our previous business, my previous business, O Foods, I basically ran out of chocolate chips.
Okay.
And my co-manufacturer called me, said, hey, Brittany, your chocolate chips went from $3 per pound to $8 per pound. What do you want us to do? And it was the moment that I was like, okay, maybe there's some error. Like, let's go look at the charts, like what's happening. And then once I realized it was actually a real problem and like what was happening in cocoa, it's the moment that I kind of realized that the cocoa industry was in crisis and really where I could kind of have some white space of going into. I was turning 30 years old and I kind of knew that I wanted to spend the next decade of my life doing something else that was like larger and something that I really saw that could grow into exactly what my vision is for 40. And that's really when I started to like really put the pieces together and then launch Chocovate Labs. And then what Chocovate Labs is we're a B2B ingredient technology company recreating the key functional behaviors of chocolate without any cocoa.
That's awesome. So let's break that down a little bit. You hear this problem, you think like, oh, that's a problem for Willy Wonka to solve. But it's huge. Like it's really big and it has global implications. Tell me a little bit about why chocolate, what's impacting it right now?
So there's climate change, deforestation that's currently occurring. And then a lot of it also is there's about 70% of the land that's been used so far to, make cocoa or build cocoa trees or plant them. And what's happening right now is a lot of those cocoa trees are actually being mined. So the land's being mined for gold. Their land's being taken from them, or a lot of it's actually disease-ridden because of the rot that's happening within the pod because of climate change. So because of that, it's causing a shortage. And then with the shortage, it's just causing prices to increase and go up from there. The problem isn't something that's structural or, it's not something that you can like fix overnight. It's something that, cocoa trees take 10 years to plant and to come around again. So even if we wanted to, let's go plant some trees today, it'll be a while. It'll be until 10 years for us to even get anything from those trees, right? So just knowing that white space for us and then figuring out, okay, how could we build around that and like what's the actual solution? So for us, we focused on more of a simple recipe that it goes into manufacturing, current co-manufacturing plants where we're not adding additional machinery or anything. And then we really turned away from fermentation. So most of our competitors are focused on fermentation and fermenting most of their product, where it adds an extra step in production or you're going to have your own facility. For us, we go straight into the traditional chocolate machinery without having additional CapEx.
Very cool. At what point did you realize like, oh, this could be a product that ends up being bigger than what is traditionally used in these manufacturing processes today?
Yeah, I knew from the beginning, once I found out about the problem, when our product went from $3 to $8, I think for me, I was like, okay, well, why isn't a solution readily available for us to actually access right now? And the reason why is because our competitors are going after more niche, like, again, fermentation and figuring out how they can, scale their technology within their regions. They're mostly in the UK. And so I thought to myself, okay, well, why can't this be an innovation that happens here in Canada, where we, again, use the exact same machinery that's available to us. And obviously we have different ways for our tech, like whether that's temperature or whatever the case is, but why can't we use exactly what's here and then build upon that and go from there?
Really? So it sounds like who else is trying to tackle this is really dealing with it in a not as scalable way.
Yeah.
When really like cocoa and chocolate is in so many things, right? It's kind of endless. And when you look at the grocery store today of like how many products this substance gets into. I'm curious, as you're trying to grow this, what has been the most surprising thing when building traction? Has it been on the cultural side of things or more so on the technical side of it?
I would say more on the technical side, because the product immediately is seen as like, okay, we need this right now. So from a consumer side or even a business side that we're selling to, B2B, there's no problems there. It's very much so like, hey, some of our customers that we are going after are paying $30 per pound, which is absolutely insane.
Wild. Yeah, absolutely
insane. And when I hopped on that call with that customer, I was like, can you double check that for me? Like, are you actually paying $30? And she's like, yeah, that's what we're paying right now. And so for us, it's really just looking at, it's more of the tech part of it. That's the harder part, to make sure that we were, in the very beginning, for example, I didn't have a food scientist on our team, and I was mostly figuring out the recipe, looking at science journals and like, what can we actually implement here and like, where can we go? And for us, I couldn't figure out the simple structure of a chocolate chip and getting it to hold as a chocolate chip. It would go into the mold and then it would come out like and melt, essentially. And then once we brought on a food scientist, she was able to figure out, okay, this is what you're missing. And it was protein that we're missing.
Oh, interesting.
And a certain protein. So we ended up finding that protein, putting it in our product, and now it completely works. And so it was just like a small change that helped us kind of move to the next level.
That's really cool. And with chocolate, it's a crystalline structure, right? And so it structures in such a way that like it has to have that snap and that meltability and all of that.
Exactly.
And that's something you've been able to figure out.
Exactly, yeah.
Really cool. So I know you're fundraising right now and you're looking for strategic partners for the business. This is your kind of chance to have the floor. What are you looking for in a partner? And what are you looking for in an investor?
Yeah, good question. So for us right now, I'm really looking for strategic investors. We're not looking for capital just to have capital, but really capital that can go to work for us and help us get to the next level. So anyone that has connections in the industry that could help us move the needle is really what we've been looking at. So anyone that's in like climate tech, anyone that's in ag tech, anyone that is in what else? I would say like a female founder standpoint of like, we want to support that angle. That's really what we've been going after. And then really looking for anyone that's really strategic. So any of our customers that we can go to and saying, hey, are you guys interested in this innovation? Because if you are, then you can have the opportunity to invest as well. So we've gone after a couple of those as well.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully someone comes through on this podcast reach out. Yeah. Watching your company grow and your ideas kind of grow over the course of just this 6-month program, I've always been so blown away by the amount of activity that you come to the table with every time we get the chance to sit down and connect.
Thank you.
This program ends, but WEtech doesn't, right? WEtech is still here to support and to kind of be along as a partner in this journey for you. I'm curious, what's more clear, or is anything more clear at the end of this journey of ScaleUp before you pitched than when you came into this program?
I would say what's more clear is our finances. Just really being clear on how to read a P&L sheet, how to read our balance sheet, how to actually create one from scratch, create a model as well. that's been really clear. And then also how to look at our customers. So we didn't just say, okay, well, we're selling it at this price. We tiered them out and said, okay, well, how much do they actually, like in tier 1, for example, how much do they actually buy per year? And then how much do they normally buy their traditional chocolate for? And what do we need to be selling at for it to be competitive, essentially? And like really tiered it out. And that was such a great exercise for us to really figure out the next level of where we need to be. And then even pitching to investors, like they wanted that information. And so it just brought us more investment ready when we were talking to them and speaking about the business and where we are and what we think we're going to do. For them seeing the financials, it was like, okay, like you know what you're doing and you're good here.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm so glad you got so much value out of it.
Thank you.
We're so excited to see where this business goes next and how it continues to evolve. And thank you for letting us be a part of that journey.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.